Hi, my name is Paul. I'm part of the Projecis team, and we'll be going over today's webinar assignments and the Gantt chart. I want to thank everybody for taking time out for joining us in today's webinar. And we have quite a number of people online, so everybody will be muted. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type it into the questions panel on your computer, and I'll address it during the course of the webinar. This webinar is being recorded. And certainly will be made available to everybody that is participating in this webinar. This is meant to be a short webinar. It's a focused webinar on specific items, and we're going to be going over assignments and the Gantt chart. With respect to assignments, it really encompasses three major areas: the milestones, tasks, and tickets area of Projecis. So let's take a look at the definition of each one of these. A milestone is a list or basket of items that need to be completed by a specific date. Usually, milestones are part of a project plan. Similarly, a task is also part of a project plan. It's an individual assignment defined by the plan. A ticket, however, is an individual assignment that comes up during the course of the program. So usually it's not a planned event. It's usually an unplanned event. And an example might be you are working with a supplier, and the supplier can no longer provide you those services and you have to look for a new one. That is an unplanned event. As a result, looking for a new supplier would then be a ticket. Another thing we're going to go a little bit over is who can create them. Who can create milestones, who can create tasks, and who can create tickets. Well, a milestone can only be created by leaders on the project as well as task managers. Task manager is a special type of permission at the project level. And again, we're talking at the project level. A person who's a leader on project A could be just a regular member on project B. So again, these permissions are specific to a given project. Tasks, however, can also be created by leaders and task managers. So both milestones and tasks can be managed by those people that are part of managing the entire project plan. And those would generally be both the leaders and the task managers. Tickets, however, can be created by everyone on the project. So everyone on the project can create a ticket and submit a ticket. However, only leaders and ticket managers that are the ones that can actually manage them and assign them to additional people on the project. And this makes sense. Here's an example. Imagine your computer is down and not working properly. You might actually create a ticket to have your computer repaired. So anybody can create a ticket to have their own computer repaired. However, only the IT department can actually assign that ticket to one of their personnel to actually fix it. Similarly, within Projecis, everyone can create a ticket. However, only leaders and ticket managers can assign those tickets to individuals because now you're actually consuming resources. They could be human resources, financial resources, or otherwise. What can people see? This is a question that I get every now and then, and it really is also based on the permissions. Let's start with the bottom. The bottom, the question is, who can see the tasks and tickets that are assigned to them? So whether you're a leader, task manager, ticket manager, or any other permission at a project on the project level, who can see those particular items? Well, certainly if you're assigned those tasks and tickets, you should be able to see them. So everyone can see them, those particular tasks and tickets that are assigned to them. However, if we take a look at the milestones at the top, only leaders and task managers can see everybody's milestones and everybody's milestones. Ticket managers, however, cannot see everyone's milestones. They can only see milestones that they're involved in, as well as those that are not ticket managers. Viewing the tasks, again, only leaders and task managers can see everyone's tasks. Other people can only see the tasks that are assigned to them. With tickets, it's a little bit different. Leaders and ticket managers can view everyone's tickets. However, task managers or anyone else on the project only sees those items that are assigned to them. So this is the structure by which they can view things, and it makes sense. You want people to see things that they are involved with or they are managing, but you really don't want them to see things that they are not involved with because it would distract them. You essentially want them to be focused on what they actually have to get done. You can imagine also these permissions also extend to the Gantt chart. Milestones and tasks are the only items that can be seen on a Gantt chart. So similarly, if we go to the Gantt chart, only leaders and task managers can see all the items. Everyone else can only see those items that are assigned to them. We're actually going to see an example of that when we jump into the live demo. Okay. And you see here that I have just logged into Projecis as Luke Skywalker. Now Luke Skywalker is a leader on this project and can see everything. So we're going to be able to see this. And again, all the items associated with assignments is at the project level. So let's just jump directly into a project and let's go to the milestones area. As we mentioned before, a milestone is a basket of stuff that needs to be completed by a particular date. We can see here we have a variety of milestones. We can even see that some of them have tasks and some of them have tickets. And if there were any comments, we can see them here as well in terms of count. Let's open up one of these particular milestones. Once we've opened the milestone, we can see here a listing of the tasks and tickets that are active, who it's assigned to, its due date, and the percent complete. At the top, you can see active tasks and tickets, and at the bottom, those things that are already completed. If any one of these particular milestones are running behind, tasks are running behind, I can simply click on the task itself, and it will actually open up the task tab specific to this particular item. So if I click on Review New Specs or Protocol Written, let's open up Protocol Written. It'll actually open up the particular task. I'll get some information like who it's assigned to, when its start and end date is, a variety of other pieces of information. And I can also see if there are any comments or files associated with this particular task. And they could be comments or files that you entered as a leader, or comments or files that the person that owns this particular task entered to let you know that what's going on. In this case, the task is running behind because they're waiting for a new SOP to be approved. So here's a comment as to a reason why it's running behind. Now this comment could have been entered by the person that owns this particular task, and that's probably what happens most of the time. In this example, that's not what exactly happened. Perhaps the owner of this task spoke to me and let me know what's happening as to why it's running behind, then I entered the comment. But in either case, comments could be entered here. This area, write a comment and attach a file, is very common in Projecis. You can see it in a variety of areas within the system, including the assignments area. One thing that's really neat, if I write a comment or attach a file and then post that comment, not only is it saved within Projecis, but the person that owns this particular task, in this case Brea or Ghana, will automatically get an email. So you don't have to go out into your email, create an email and send it to them. It's all kept here in one place, and it's all dated as to when it was sent out. Additionally, if I want an update, I can simply click on Request Status Update, and an email will automatically go to the owner of this task that I want an update of this particular task. Because Projecis works with your email, they don't necessarily have to log in. If I write a comment or attach a file, or request a status update, all they have to do is reply to the email, and the comment will automatically be entered into the string. So all the information will be maintained in one place. Okay. Now, we can see at the top, there are a variety of items on the left-hand side. In general, the left-hand side is really browse and search features, and the right-hand side is new item features. This is common in Projecis. The structure is the same. So if I go to milestones, we can also see on the left-hand side some browse and search features, and on the right-hand side, new items. So let's take a quick look how to create a milestone. All I do is click on milestone, enter the appropriate information. I can even create a description if I want, and then add this milestone. Similarly, if I want to add a task, all I do is click on New Task, add the appropriate information, planned start date, end date, who it should be assigned to, estimated hours if I want, priority of this particular item, description, I can attach any files, and then add this task. Now, one thing you can also do within Projecis is also add sub-action items. Now, these are action items that you can create within the system. They automatically create tickets. All I do is add action item, type in a summary, assign it to an individual on this team, and when it's due, and then add this action item. What it will do is it will create sub-items underneath this task, but they are not tasks in and of themselves. They are actually tickets. The advantage of this, however, is that these particular items have to be completed in order for this overall task to be completed. Additionally, those particular tickets, because they do create tickets, will automatically notify the person that they're assigned to that they actually have that type of assignment. So again, this is another way to organize and maintain information in the assignments environment. Okay. So I'm not going to create any milestones and tasks at this point, but one thing I do want to show you is the Gantt chart. I can access the Gantt chart from the milestones or the tasks environment. Either one, if I select either, I will have access to this Gantt chart option. So let's go ahead and open up the Gantt chart. Now the Gantt chart consists of milestones and tasks, not tickets. The milestones here on the left-hand side are in blue. The tasks are in white. And you can see this is how they are organized. Each one of these are organized going from milestone through tasks. In the Gantt chart field, we can see a variety of bars. Some of them are dark blue, some of them are light blue, and some of them are stacked bars. This one is a stacked bar, and stacked bar represents percent complete. This particular task is 45% complete, so only 45% of the bar is a dark blue. This one is 100% complete because it's all dark blue. As a project leader, I can quickly look at my Gantt chart, and this Gantt chart should be turning from a light blue to a dark blue, moving from left to right. If it's not, I can see that it's running behind. And then I can click on it, view the comments, and see if there's a comment indicating why this particular item is running behind. And it looks like HR hiring is behind schedule, so it's impacting training. So that's why this particular item is running behind. If I were to write a comment here and post the comment, a copy of that comment will automatically go to the owner of this task, in this case, Brea Organa. Now these comments are the same comments if I were to open up the task tab. They're no different. The only exception is that you cannot see attachments in this environment. However, you can see all the comments and edits that had gone on over time associated with this particular task. Another thing you'll also see within the Gantt chart is dependencies. Some of these are one-to-one, some of these are many-to-one. The type of dependency that you can create within Projecis is finish to start. Something has to finish, or some series of things have to finish before something can start. There is a way to create start to start, and how you would do that is you would essentially create a dummy day. Imagine this was a dummy day. It would be, start of series XYZ, day -1, and then I would create a variety of tasks that would attach to that particular item, so the ones that have to start all at the same time. The advantage of doing to creating start to starts using that particular method is you actually can avoid daisy chains. Daisy chains are quite common within a lot of other tools. And they will work as long as there are no changes. However, if there are changes, then you have to disconnect and reconnect those items to make sure that the timeline is the way it should be. Creating this type of dummy day and linking everything to it avoids that type of daisy chain effect. So the question here is, how easy is it to create these type of dependencies? Well, it's very easy. All I do is click on the item that I'm interested in, click on predecessors, and I can select any number of predecessors that I want to complete prior to this particular item. I can always remove items, and then I can add additional ones as I move along. Now you'll notice here on the right-hand side, the tab says there's a conflict. If I click on the conflict, it'll ask, do I want to change the due date of site visits, or do I want to change the start date of MRA training? So basically what that's asking, and I'm going to close this just for this particular example, what it's asking, if I was linking these two items together, do I want this to shift back, or do I want this to shift forward? That's essentially what it's asking, and that's the conflict. And I can resolve that conflict very easily. So let's create a number of these where there might be a conflict, and there probably will be one. All I have to do is click which one I want. I'm going to click the first one, and all I do is save changes. All it's doing, it's saving the changes in this particular item. Okay? It's not saving the changes to the Gantt chart. And you can see here on the left-hand side, MRA training turns into a light blue. So it was white, now it's a light blue. So what it's essentially showing me is if there were a number of items that were being changed, they would all turn light blue, and then I can scroll over, in this particular case scroll over, and see that there's a MRA training here that is also a light blue. This light blue indicates that it's been saved to this item, but it has not been saved to the Gantt chart. So this item will not be retained unless I save it to the Gantt chart. And all I have to do is click on Save Changes in the upper right, and it will turn from this very light blue to a darker blue. Now, until I click on Save Changes, I can always revert changes. If I revert changes, it actually undoes everything that is in a light blue. So I can quickly click on Revert Changes, click OK, and it will remove that change and shift it back. You can see it's back here where it started. Now, one of the things that I would recommend is if you're making a lot of changes, periodically save it. Because if you want to revert changes and you have a lot of changes that you've already implemented, it will undo all of the changes. And you don't necessarily want to do that. So you want to save it on a regular basis. So you could say, make sure that if you revert, you only revert the ones that you're not interested in. Okay. So that's how we can create dependencies. That's how we can create predecessors, and that's how you can manage some of this Gantt chart. There are a couple of things I want to mention. If you create dependencies here within the Gantt chart, and this is the only place you can create them, is within the Gantt chart environment. If I want to change any one of these dates of items that something is dependent upon or is dependent on, so either this item, for example, or this item, I cannot make the changes to the dates within the task environment. It will actually tell me to go to the Gantt chart and make the changes here. Because there are some dependencies and you might want to shift a variety of things so you can see what the impact is, it actually asks you to go to the Gantt chart. So that's one thing to know. However, if I want to make change to an item that does not have any dependencies, such as this one, MRA assignment schedule, I can do so either here or in the tasks area. It really doesn't matter. I can make the changes either way. Now the tabs, tasks, and milestones are linked to the Gantt chart. As you're creating milestones and tasks, you are also creating entries in the Gantt chart. However, I can add milestones and tasks in this environment as well. In fact, what happens to a lot of our users is they'll come to the Gantt chart, they'll be completely, let's say starting a project. I will actually start creating milestones and tasks within the Gantt chart and start to create dependencies. Now, when you do that, when you're starting to just plan a project, one best practice is not to assign it to anybody. You don't want to assign any of these milestones or tasks to individuals until you have the Gantt chart at least roughly in place. The reason being is as soon as you assign it to an individual, any one of those particular changes will automatically be sent to the individual that owns this task via email. So while you're playing around and moving things around and still planning, you don't want them to necessarily get a whole slew of emails that their task is being moved all over the place. So as a best practice, if you're starting to plan a project for the first time, so a brand new project, and you want to create milestones and tasks within the Gantt chart, certainly do not assign it to anybody while you're doing so. Okay. There are a lot of other features within Projecis to certainly take a look at. One of them is to share this Gantt chart with others. I can share this Gantt chart with those outside of Projecis. All I have to do is click on Manage Sharing, copy this URL, email it to them. They'll click on that link and they will get that exact same Gantt chart. They can zoom in and zoom out. They can uncover start dates, end dates, number of days, duration in order to complete a particular task. All of this is here within Projecis. They can even hover the item and get some top line information. However, they cannot get any additional information by clicking on the bar or clicking on the task on the left-hand side. Additionally, you can see at the top a lot of the features have been removed. So they cannot create baselines, they cannot add milestones or tasks. Basically, they cannot mess with your Gantt chart. However, they do view the Gantt chart. One of the advantages of using this URL is that the URL will give them the latest Gantt chart. The Gantt chart is a live system. So as you're changing dates, as you're changing percent complete, this particular Gantt chart is also changing. Using the URL allows them to see the latest Gantt chart. So in other words, let's say instead of sending an individual, let's say senior management, PDFs all the time, if I give them the link, they will always have the access to the latest Gantt chart. Right? Another thing that is great within this particular environment is also creating baselines. Now this is a live Gantt chart, as we mentioned. Things can change over time. I can take a snapshot of this particular Gantt chart and then overlay it on what's happening today and see if there are any changes. So the snapshot that I took is in the gray versus today, which is in the colored bars, and we can see there was some something here that actually is ahead of schedule. So we can always take a look at this over time. So what I usually recommend is if you have regular project team meetings where there were changes, take a snapshot of it. When you take a snapshot of a baseline, it automatically will note the date that that snapshot was taken. All I do is type in a name, create baseline, and you can see there were a variety of names here. The baseline will be saved, and then you can overlay it on the current chart, so you can see where changes had occurred. Okay. Now this Gantt chart on the left-hand side is organized by milestone. You can also organize this by resource. All I have to do is click on this particular icon, and we'll shift it from organization of milestone to organization by person or resource. So in this case, R2D2 is at the top, and we could see all the tasks that he is assigned to. So imagine that R2D2 is either going on vacation or is being shifted to a different project. I can quickly see those particular items that are assigned to him on this Gantt chart, and I can decide to either get an update of those particular tasks or I can reassign them to other people. I can then revert this back to where it was before, and I can even turn off the baseline image that we just took a look at. So this is a Gantt chart. As you can imagine, it's a very powerful tool. I can always zoom in and zoom out. So if I want to view this by quarter, I can actually view it by quarter. I can see Q3 here, Q4. This particular project does not extend far into Q4, but you can see all the items here and how it's organized. Now, one of the things that I had mentioned before when we're talking about milestones and tasks is what can you see? Now, I've logged in as a leader and I can see everything. So what can somebody else see? Well, in the slides that I showed you, only those people that are either leaders or task managers can see everything in the milestones and tasks environment. And this is a great time to actually see this as an example. Now here I've logged on as Chewbacca. Chewbacca is a regular member on this project. Now this is Project Rotoprophia. This is the same project that Luke Skywalker was on. And if I click on milestones, I only see a couple milestones here. No milestone is essentially just a basket holder. And then standards development. If I click on the tasks, I only see the tasks that I am assigned to, which is here, review new specs. If I go back to Luke Skywalker and I take a look at the tasks, the default is obviously to see tasks that are assigned to you, but I can also see all the tasks, those assigned to others, unassigned, completed, and certainly all tasks. So I have the ability to view everything. Leaders and task managers have the ability to do that. Regular members do not. Now the last thing I want to jump into is tickets. If I click on tickets, as I mentioned before, tickets are those items that come up during the course of the program. And I can create tickets a variety of ways, but I'm just going to show you quickly how to create tickets in this environment. All I do is click on New Ticket on the right-hand side. And unlike tasks, there are three types of tickets. Tasks, there's only one type. Tickets, however, can be to-dos, issues, or feedback. So what is a to-do? A to-do is just an item that needs to be done, and you might have a due date, You can assign it to an individual, even have a description or attach files as guidelines perhaps, and then just add this to-do item. Once you click on add this to-do item, the person will be notified that they have this type of assignment. An issue is different in that there is no due date. An issue is something that needs to be completed right away. So as a result, there is no due date. You have to complete it, it has to be done right away. Imagine the computer system going down or the accounting system being down. That needs to be fixed right away. So there is no due date. However, you can assign it to somebody. You can put it under a milestone similar to to-dos, have priority, set a priority for it. Description, again, you can attach files to this as well, then add this issue. Feedback is different. Feedback is where you're getting information and you're submitting it. So largely you're usually submitting this to someone. I am submitting, let's say, feedback on a website. One of our investigators said the website is really hard to see, maybe we should do X, Y, and Z. I can issue this as feedback and who it's reported by, enter a description, any files, then add this feedback. Once I add this feedback, leaders on the project team will automatically be notified. They can then take a look at the feedback, click on it, and then actually convert it into an issue or to-do item. So they can then create issues or to-dos from feedback and then assign it to other individuals. So this case, this was reported by myself, Luke Skywalker. Another leader on the project might get a copy of it. They can then convert it into an issue and then assign it to, let's say, Han Solo. So all of this is possible within the system. Now, tickets, as I mentioned, are not reflected in Gantt charts. And I get the question, well, why? Well, milestones and tasks are part of the project plan. So that is usually what's reflected in Gantt charts. If something comes up that impacts your project plan, it's not as if nothing has to be done with it, but it's probably impacting a ticket. So the decision is, instead of having multiple items that impact your project plan, it really is a ticket should be impacting a task or a milestone. So as a result, milestones and tasks are reflected in Gantt charts, tickets are not. They can, however, be assigned to milestones. So for example, I can organize this issue under a given milestone on this project, and similarly I can do that with a to-do item. So let's say, again, we had a supplier that can no longer provide us services. We need to find a new supplier. I can create an issue or to-do, assign it to a particular individual, and then put it under a milestone that perhaps it's impacting. So maybe it's impacting let's say the supplier is actually a database provider. I can actually put it under the milestone of open database just for organization's sake. However, it does not appear in the Gantt chart and does not change the dates. If it isn't changing the dates, then you'll have to go in and certainly take a look if there are any tasks that need to be adjusted because of this particular issue. Okay. So with that, if there are any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions panel and I'll try to address them now. Let's see. Okay, one question here is if I attach files to a particular item, whether they're milestones, tasks, or tickets, how large can that file be? The largest the file size within Projecis is 250 megabytes. So that is the file size that you can enter into any part of the system, whether it's the files environment where you might be storing files, or any items that you might be affiliating to a particular assignment, whether they're milestones, tasks, or tickets. Any other questions? Can you output the Gantt chart? Actually, that's a great question and something I didn't cover. You cannot output the Gantt chart in and of itself. However, a lot of people will use this particular feature, which is you can output the milestones, tasks, and tasks on tickets out into an Excel file. So when we have a project team meeting, a lot of people will click, just prior to the project team meeting, you can click on this particular icon. It'll download that particular file, and I actually just downloaded it just now. And you could see here the milestones on the left, the tasks, duration, start date, end date, who it's assigned to, percent complete, hours estimate, hours actual. We didn't go this, we just showed just a brief introduction to entering hours. And then the predecessors. These are things that have to be completed before this particular item can start. So a lot of people in project meetings either like looking at the Gantt chart or certainly like to look at the Excel file. And certainly the ability to click on this particular icon and download the Excel file is something that a lot of people like to take advantage of. Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, I want to thank everybody for participating. A recording of this particular webinar will be posted and emailed to those participating in this particular meeting. And again, if there are any questions, please feel free to email me at paul@projecis.com. Thanks.